Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created the jinn and the men in order to worship Him. This is the purpose for existence. As Allah Azza wa Jal, He said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. That we have not created the jinn and the men except that they may worship. This is a very clear, simple answer which explains to us the purpose of our existence. And once we understand this, once we have been informed of this by our Maker, by our Creator, then our life is very simple. Because we then assume that we will receive guidance from this Maker and this Creator. It is implied that if we have been created for His worship, then it implies that we shall receive guidance. And indeed, Allah Azza wa Jal, this is why He sent messengers, this is why He revealed books. And so that's why wahi, revelation, is the source of our guidance. And so all the prophets and messengers are united, as we said in the previous treatise, upon the kalima la ilaha illallah, that it is the truth, that it is the purpose for creation. Now, if you don't accept this, you see that if you look at, the atheists and the philosophers and those people, they are just lost and confused and wandering and blind because they don't know what the purpose of existence is. There isn't a purpose. They don't have one, there can't be one. And for that reason, when you look at all of the different philosophies that have arisen, you see that all these philosophies are just really each person trying to make sense of the world based upon his own experiences, and then coming out with a philosophy that he thinks should be his philosophy for life on the basis of what he's experienced. That's really all it is. Right? So you'll see, without going into all the details, you see that these philosophers have certain ideas about morals and principles, and so some of them say, well, I think you should really think about yourself. Everything that counts is whatever gives meaning to your life. If you want to seek pleasure, if you want to seek fame, if you want to seek authority, this is what gives meaning to your life. You just pursue it. That's your truth. Right? So some of them come up with these ideas. Others say, well, no, really, it's to do with basically caring for other people and being altruistic and kind and generous. And so it's the group and it's the others that you really, self-sacrifice for. And then others come with something else, and then others come with something else, and then others come with something else. So they're all lost. Because they don't really know because they deny revelation, then they are forced to rely upon their opinions and their ideas and their personal subjective experiences. So they come with all these different philosophies. So when you look at these people, the philosophers, you see that, if you put everything together in a spectrum, they're all lost, contradictory, incoherent when you put them together. Right? But when you look at Islam and revelation, and you look at everything as a whole, the beliefs, the acts of worship, the morals and manners that it commands, the akhlaq, the behavior, the etiquette, the rules and laws that relate to wealth, that relate to life, that relate to property, that relate to honor, the objectives behind the Sharia, and you put all of these together, you see everything, it fits. There is no conflict in anything. Everything fits absolutely perfectly together. And that's why this is obviously sidestepping from the treatise itself, but just to give an example, I was just listening on the radio, on the news on the way here, where they were speaking about alcohol and the problem with alcohol, and how alcohol is a huge problem, and it costs them 70 billion in expenses because of the impact it has on the health of 15 to 50-something year olds. Right? The impact upon health. And how this is a huge problem and how they need to tackle it. And so they're trying to find different ways. And one of the ways that they're suggesting now is to say, well, we ought to have like an absolute minimum price. Basically, hike the price up so high that it becomes obviously less affordable to people. So to put people off from drinking alcohol. And so you see that these people, how they're completely lost, because they don't maintain the principles upon which law ought to be based, right? A law, when it looks at things, when it looks at the qualities of things, properties, actions, things, it looks at what is the benefit to the majority and what is the harm to the majority, and what is the benefit to the individual and what is the harm to the harm to the individual. And on the basis, it always brings out that which is best. It brings out that which is in which lies the greatest, benefit and good for the people. So here, because they have these philosophies about the individual, and they can't strike the balance between what benefits the individual and his interests and what benefits the society as the whole. And so therefore they will persist, they will allow these things to continue, alcohol, sexual relations outside of defined boundaries, because they believe this is all the individual freedom and whatever else, whatever philosophies they operate upon. But on the other hand, you see the destruction that it's doing upon the society. It's visibly destroying the society. Domestic violence, road accidents, health problems with the liver being destroyed and all the implications it has upon employment, work, and everything, all the harm it brings to the economy. You can see it in front of your eyes, the damage that it's doing. Just like you see the damage that, when you see broken homes because of illicit sexual relations and, whatever else comes with all of these, liberal philosophies, you see the harm right in front of your eyes. It's in front of your face. But still, you see the slogans about liberty, freedom, this, and it's all a mess. There's no coherence. There's no coherence. It's a mess, right? So whereas when you look at Islam, alcohol, yes, there is some benefit in it, but the harm outweighs the benefit. And shaitan and the other ayat mention how, by way of certain actions like gambling and divination and, things like that, shaitan, he instills, enmity and hatred, and, he brings harm by way of these things. And so Islam, when it legislates, it makes a legislation for the prohibition of something, then it also prohibits all the avenues that lead to that thing as well. So, it is haram for you to be sat at a place where alcohol is being served. It is haram for you, like the people who are cursed, the one who squashes the grapes, the one who, the one who carries the alcohol, the one who sells it, everyone is. So, it prohibits something and it prohibits all the avenues that lead to it as well. This is wisdom in law. This is wisdom in legislation, that you not only prohibit the thing, but you also prohibit all the avenues that lead to it as well. And so likewise, you see that the same applies to other things as well, like fornication. Prohibited, and all the avenues leading to it. There are other legislations that make sure that a person does not, go towards that, and so on and so forth. So the point being that that when we accept that revelation is from Allah Azza wa Jal, then we anticipate guidance from Allah Azza wa Jal, then we anticipate that this guidance will be in our best interests, and it is based upon wisdom, Allah's hikmah, Allah's knowledge, Allah's perfection, Allah's justice, and everything will be coherent. And that's exactly what we see. Whereas when we look at all these other philosophies, it is just one big mess with no coherence whatsoever. So the point being, this is a sidetrack, but the point that we started with was the issue of, we know the purpose of our creation. It is to worship Allah Azza wa Jal alone. And since this is the purpose, we anticipate then Allah Azza wa Jal will send us guidance. And so indeed, He sent guidance by way of the prophets and messengers. He revealed books. And all the guidance of the messengers and prophets is one and uniform and the same. And on top of that, Tawheed, we are then given the Shara'i, the legislations, which then govern our lives, to protect, our lives, our dignity, our honor, our property, our wealth, our blood. It guarantees the protection of those things.